Tonight, community residents and the island's Prime Minister call for an end to gun violence following 2 deadly shootings on the weekend. The city police makes its first arrest for the offense of not wearing a mask in public, and long passenger queues as new protocols are rolled out on the Grosley bus stand amid heightened COVID-19 response. The details of these stories and much more are coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Monday, the 19th of October, 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. Devon Emmanuel was shot dead in Marigot on Saturday. Residents of the community have expressed shock regarding the details surrounding the fatal shooting. Emmanuel was traversing the Marigot highway when he was shot. Our cameras were on site of the shooting and spoke with residents of the community about what transpired. Jacques Wooding begins our reporting.
A Marigot resident identified as 34-year-old Devon Emmanuel, originally of Vieux-Fort, is dead after being shot on Saturday, October 17th in Chinatown, Marigot. A video posted to social media in the aftermath of Saturday's shooting shows a male individual lying on his back on the road with his head in a pool of blood. We spoke to residents on the ground in Marigot on what unfolded on Saturday.
Yeah, right here, and like by my auntie gate right there, the red gate. And I was on my hammock, right there. And I just see the person just run, so, and I can't say, I noticed the person's face, but it's, the dirty group, I would just say, because more and more them fellas talking, the way they talk, they react from what they talk, the music, so. Right now, we all can't do nothing, even the policeman. So all we have to do is try to see if we could get in the new year coming. We get things change as sister on my people.
Once past night, so I observed that there was a dead body on the ground. Last time I was in a couple of shots busting down the road there.
Residents of Marigot are making a call for an end to gun violence in the community following the killing of Devon Emmanuel on Saturday, October 17th, 2020.
Right now, you can't even talk to the youths because from the time you start talk to their body, because they are different, you go even 40 think is in a different island you're there. Your mother this, or you're this, and this, you can't even. That's what me and my brother was just talking about, how we stand in Marigot.
Feels a kind of like feeling that gets in the drinking, They manage to get hostile, and they react in certain kind of ways, again, want there to be shut down.
They want to stop the violence. They're making sense. Too much of killing happening. That them kind of vibes, they're good. Stop them kind of thing, Missy. Stop it. It's not good. For real.
Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Jacques Wooding.
Thank you, Jacques. A shooting in Leslieland has left 1 man dead. He has been identified as Ali Jordan. Speaking out against the proliferation of gun violence is Prime Minister Alan Chastanet. He laments that deadly force continues to be the chosen form of conflict resolution for some members of the public, especially youth. Rochelle Gonzalez reports.
In the week of Monday, October 12th to Sunday, October 18th, the island recorded a sudden spike in gun violence which resulted in 3 nursing gunshot wounds and 3 dead. These deaths and injuries occurred during 4 different incidents, with 2 occurring on the 12th. Of the 4 cases, whilst 1 occurred in Marigot, 3 occurred in Leslieland and are believed to be linked. The 2 most recent cases of homicide occurred over the weekend and included 34-year-old Devon Emmanuel, originally of Vieux-Fort, but residing in Marigot. Emmanuel was shot and killed at around 1:10 p.m. on Saturday along the Chinatown-Marigot highway, making him homicide number 40. The following day, 27-year-old Ali Jordan, alias Small Boy of Grass Street, Castries, was shot and killed at around 11:30 a.m. in Leslieland on Sunday and was homicide number 41. On Monday morning, Prime Minister Alan Chastanet reacted to the incidents, lamenting the youth's choice to use violence as a form of conflict resolution.
It's exasperating that young people in particular are resorting to this lifestyle, and that the solution to a problem is to kill someone. Now, I hear people saying that they're questioning the government's strategy on crime. I've said from day one that there is no one thing to solve the crime problem and solution. It is a holistic solution. So improving our border control. So we're moving to a new border control entity. Courts, we still have over 1,000 criminal cases backlogged. That's why getting these new courts built as quickly as possible is critical. Health insurance and life insurance for my police officers, properly equipping them. We're actually looking at changing our investigation team. So for the investigation team to be part of the lab and not to be part of the police force. So there's an independent investigation team and the preservation of evidence.
The PM said there is also a need to tackle the issue of crime from the root. He said once this is addressed, then the path to fixing the problem will become a possibility.
The other one really is that understanding what happens at early ages with young people and to give them other alternatives to get involved in. So supporting the families that are not able to keep their kids at school, not to keep them going in the right direction, and creating a new value system in our country, which is bringing back family life. We're working on all of those things. It's not until all those things are fixed, sadly, we're not going to see a more significant change. Now, we have seen a significant reduction in major crime. Sadly, murder is not one of them, but in all of the other major crimes, serious crimes, we've seen a significant drop, and some of the things that we're doing are working. But really, the goal that we have for St. Lucia is much more holistic. We're working very hard making those investments necessary, bringing up the standard of policing and investigation and also in prosecution in this country, and also to improve the social programs. That is really the core source of some of these problems.
The local media attempted to get a comment from the Commissioner of Police, Severin Morchery. However, the matter, he said, will be addressed on Tuesday morning. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
The City Police Department has made its first arrest under new mask legislation outlined in the COVID-19 Prevention and Control Bill. This was disclosed by Castries Mayor Peterson Francis on Monday as he made a plea to citizens to realize the true gravity of the COVID-19 pandemic.
On the morning of October 19, 2020, officers attached to the City Police Department apprehended a man who was traversing the city of Castries without wearing a mask. The individual was questioned by the officers present and was later arrested for non-compliance to COVID-19 protocols. He was taken to the City Police headquarters and currently remains in custody. Mayor of Castries, Peterson Francis, says following discussions with the Prime Minister last week, City police officers have adopted a zero-tolerance approach to non-compliance. He says there is no room for officers to be lenient.
Incidentally, this morning we just arrested somebody for not wearing a mask, and we will continue. We are still appealing to solutions. Please, you're not protecting me, you're protecting yourself. Just think about you protecting yourself and not somebody else. So we're on the drive, and I don't know where you're going to put them, but I could tell you solutions. But we have started arresting people. Up to this morning, we had somebody arrested.
Francis says by his observation, citizens are still unable to realize the seriousness of the COVID-19 pandemic and what infection could mean for them and those they care about.
Young boy, where's your mask? He takes it out of his pocket. As soon as he passed the police gun, he took it out again. So. But as I said, a lot of us want to vote next election. Please stay safe.
The mayor is urging members of the public to comply with the relevant COVID-19 protocols or face the full brunt of the law. Jacques Wooding, Hot 7 News.
On Sunday, St. Lucia received confirmation of 3 more COVID-19 cases, taking the island's total number of cases recorded thus far to 36. The Ministry of Health has provided an update on the 3 latest cases and is continuing its efforts to contain community spread of the virus. Genevieve Gonzague reports.
Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sharon Belmar George broke the news to the island that St. Lucia had recorded 3 more cases of COVID-19.
The Ministry of Health received confirmation of 3 new cases of COVID-19. Cases 34, 35, and 36. Case 34 is a 21-year-old male who is the son of COVID-19 case number 31, the 47-year-old male from Castries who was diagnosed on October 14, 2020. The second case, case number 35, is a 23-year-old female who is a close contact of the cases 30, 31, 32, and 34. These 2 newly diagnosed cases were identified during the contact tracing process being undertaken by the health team in response to the cases which were diagnosed during this past week. The third case, case number 36, is a 21-year-old male who participated in one of the COVID-19 community testing drives which was recently conducted. This individual is linked to case number 33. In all 3 of these cases, there was no travel history into St. Lucia.
Upon receiving the results of the latest cases, all individuals were taken to the respiratory hospital for care. On Monday, the CMO provided the nation with a progress report on contact tracing in relation to the latest cases, stating that over 1,200 tests had been conducted during the past week, 182 of which were from the Castries Comprehensive Secondary School.
These cases were from varying communities, but the ministry's contact tracing team was able to establish a common link of the cases to the Olean community on the east coast of St. Lucia. During the past week, targeted testing was undertaken in communities of immediate concern at Oleodenry, with a total of 167 people being tested, in Deriso-Mico, with 15 people being tested, and for the relevant staff and students of the Castries Comprehensive School, with 182 people being tested so far.
Contact tracing will continue as well as community-based testing. The CMO explained that the Ministry of Health has not given any direct instructions for people to stay away from work, but rather to get tested if they believe they may have been exposed to the virus. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzalez.
Tourism Minister Dominic Fede is clearing up a rumor currently in circulation, stating that the actual origin of the recent upsurge in COVID-19 cases is from the hotel sector. Minister Fede says the evidence is clear to show that the cases are as a result of community spread and not from infected tourists. Rochelle Gonzalez reports.
With much talk of rumors circulating, throwing a spanner in the works of the government as they try to fight the recent upsurge of COVID-19 cases, Tourism Minister Dominic Fede is addressing one that threatens the tourism industry. Speculation has risen over the origin of the new cases, with rumors pointing to workers in the hotel industry bringing the disease into the community after contracting it from tourists, as opposed to the common belief that the cases are as a result of people who sneak into the country illegally from neighboring islands with high cases of the disease, namely Martinique. This rumor was further fueled after it was revealed that one of the latest cases reportedly works in the hotel industry. On Monday, Fede quickly cleared this rumor up, stating that it would be impossible for this to happen as the woman has been on maternity leave and has been away from work.
My information is for 6 months, so she hasn't been at work. So what it is clear is that a family member of her went to a particular community and then it would appear, since all of our cases are tracing back to a certain community, that one of her sons would have come back with the virus from that community which he frequents. And what we want to do is not to single out these families. It's a very sensitive time, and I'm very cognizant of the fact that we have to be patient with them, as they cooperate with us. I really implore the press not to be insensitive. This could be your grandmother, this could be your mother, your brother, your sister. We want to make sure that those people who are positive, that we do everything to protect them, because we need their cooperation. And in future instances, what we don't want is for individuals who are positive to be bastardized by misinformation, and then they're afraid to come forward to say, well, hey, I'm negative. So we don't want to create an environment where people are going to be very secretive about their health condition in this rather sensitive time.
Fede assured the masses that the tourism industry is doing all in its power to keep the disease at bay.
What I want to make absolutely clear that there's no information so far that within the tourism industry we're seeing any evidence of any cases. Certainly I received an update from the CMO this morning, and none of that indicated that the cases or contact tracing were showing that these cases were coming from the tourism sector. You would recall that the government was excoriated in the international community, particularly locally by tourism circles, for having protocols that were too stringent. And I'm glad that we stuck to the protocols, because what it showed is that we ensured a very strict management environment. And so we wanted to make sure that the staff were protected at the hotels, and we reduce every likelihood of them taking it home back to their families.
The minister said he is very concerned about the level of fake news floating around and implored the masses to refrain from focusing on and spreading the misinformation. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
Prime Minister Alan Chastanet is lamenting the recent bouts of fake news circulating in relation to the number of COVID-19 cases on island. The PM says it is unfortunate that some of the false information is being shared by influential people. However, he implores the nation to pay attention to the advice of only the relevant agencies, namely the Ministry of Health.
Human nature of spreading rumors is proving to be a major problem for the government, particularly the Ministry of Health and the island's Prime Minister, at a time where the mentioned parties are working to steer the island through the COVID-19 pandemic. One such rumor was the letter being circulated on Sunday, purporting to be from the Ministry of Health, stating that the island had recorded 6 new cases of the disease, bringing the new total to 39. Whilst the island did record multiple new cases of COVID-19 on Sunday, the actual number was 3 rather than the 6 stated in the fake letter. Addressing the issue, Prime Minister Alan Chastanet reminded the masses to pay attention to the correct sources.
As a government from day one, have attempted to try to avoid that. That's human nature, sadly, and it's even worse now that we're in this particular time of season. And this is why we've gone through the discipline of allowing the CMO to be the lead person. So unless you've not gotten it from the CMO, then you have to question the validity of what it is. I'm just asking a lot of the people, the public, the general public, not to believe things. And the more dramatic it is, the more tendency it is for it to be fake.
The PM admonished the different individuals who actively spread the untruths, calling this behavior dangerous.
Sadly, right now in St. Lucia, we have a situation in which it seems that there are a lot of people, or some people, who want to challenge the authority of the state. And this is something that's also very, very dangerous. So when I see lawyers putting out letters threatening public officers, when I see lawyers and former politicians trespassing on land and actually pushing people aside, and sadly I saw members of the media participating in that as well, when I see persons not wanting to wear their face mask or questioning whether in fact we have COVID or not, and whether in fact this was real information, this is dangerous. And while I understand we're in politics and politics tends to bring out this kind of behavior, combined with what's taken place with COVID, it's not a good situation.
The PM said on the topic of COVID-19, there is a need for a unified message, even whilst there are difficult decisions to be made along the way. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, long passenger queues as new protocols are rolled out on the Gros Islet bus stand amid heightened COVID-19 response. A Monday morning fiasco involving Moshi minibus pirates is addressed by the Transport Minister Guy Joseph, and Castries Mayor Peter St. Francis says continued indiscriminate dumping of garbage by Castries residents led to Sunday's flooding in the city. That and more coming up after the break.